What is the solution? Okay, so we're in an alternate universe now. Christie is president. He doesn't use this terminology, but he has the solution.
First,
I'm all ears.
The atmosphere in the real-time studio was thick with Bill Maher's trademark smugness. He reclined in his chair, poised to deliver yet another sarcastic jab, another cheap shot disguised as wit. But Christie had reached his limit. The audience reacted. Some applauded, others murmured in surprise, and many simply sat still, trying to absorb what had just happened. Maher blinked, momentarily stunned. His usual arsenal of smug comebacks seemed to fail him. He shifted uneasily, searching for a clever remark to regain control, but nothing came. Christie's argument hung in the air, solid, unshakable, and irrefutable. For the first time in a long while, the king of smug had no response. Instead, he let out a forced chuckle, attempting to gloss over the moment. But the shift in the room was unmistakable. Christie had landed a powerful blow, and Maher knew it. It was one of those rare moments when Bill Maher was left speechless by a guest. Don't miss this fascinating exchange.
So glad to have your attention.
You've got it undivided.
What he should be doing is he should be playing a constructive role between Zelensky and Putin. Putin knows he's losing. Putin's not stupid. He knows he's losing. You got to give him an exit ramp. He's got to find a way to get out in saving face.
Okay, but that's a non-starter.
He has exit ramps. He's got, he's flush with cash from the high oil price. He's about to bring on another 300,000 troops. He controls the state media. He can call this a win at any moment that he wants to call it a win. So he is choosing not to take the exit ramp. I don't think there's any negotiation, especially now, to be done between Zelensky and Putin particularly.
Yeah, I disagree.
Well, Zelensky, the exit ramp would be some accommodation where he gets some territory in Ukraine, and Zelensky isn't going to go for that.
He'll go for letting him keep Crimea.
Well, that's kind of a done deal. That was annexed in 2014.
But that's some territory in Ukraine. You got to go in there and try to sell it, man. Don't be like setting your hair on fire and yelling about nuclear Armageddon unless you're going to come forward with a solution.
On the other hand, you're blaming Biden for what Putin is doing.
I'm not blaming Biden. I'm blaming Biden for saying nuclear Armageddon.
I know, yes, but you can't blame him for the failure of Putin to take off-ramp after off-ramp that has been offered to him.
I just don't want.
You're saying, well, no, you got to go in and sell it. No,
go in and make a solution.
Putin doesn't want an off-ramp at this point, and there's nothing you can do about it. And frankly, I think Biden has handled, I agree, I think Armageddon was a stupid remark, but you've got to handle this as well as you can, and right now, bloodying his nose and pushing back where they are for Ukraine, pretty good strategy.
Biden's done a good job on this.
He
so
has.
far. He's rallied NATO. He's kept them consistent. He's supplied the Europeans with extra gas to try and get them through the winter as much as he can. He's kept the coalition
together. And he kind of thought Ukraine could win when nobody else did. He said, we'll just back him.
And I don't disagree with any of that, but I think that the alarmist language he's using creates an atmosphere that makes it more likely to happen.
From a political commentary perspective, the debate between Christie and Bill Maher over President Biden's handling of the Ukraine crisis illustrates a deeper ideological divide in evaluating presidential leadership. On one side, Biden's supporters argue that his experience and steady approach have been crucial in preserving NATO unity, securing long-term military and economic support for Ukraine, and effectively pushing back against Russian aggression. They view Biden's decades of foreign policy knowledge as a strength, allowing him to manage a high-stakes conflict without dragging the U.S. into direct military confrontation. A mark of strategic wisdom, not weakness. On the other side, critics like Christie focus on Biden's rhetoric, particularly his reference to nuclear Armageddon, which they see as alarmist and potentially emboldening to Vladimir Putin. From this viewpoint, a president's words must be measured, projecting strength without inflaming tensions. The exchange ultimately revealed a broader discussion about Biden's leadership style. Is his cautious, coalition-driven approach that of a wise statesman, or a hesitant leader whose words sometimes undercut his message?
I'm telling you, this show's rubbing off on him. He's getting very bold. Yes, loose.
Yeah, that was me. I never had the reputation of being bold. Raw flower type.
So you are considering it?
Sure.
Yeah, you should. I mean, why not? Because we need a normal Republican. I mean, as good as it gets, Republican.
You know, by the way, I may have just figured out why you never had kids. You're such a sweet talker. You know?
But do you think you could really take the party away from the clutches of the Trump cult as it is now? And because even if it's not Trump, it's going to be a Trumper.
I would like to see what happens in the midterms.
Yeah.
I think, all I heard in 2016 was that we're going to do so much winning that we're going to be tired of winning, and we're going to ask him not to win anymore. And then we lost the House and the Senate in 18. We lost the presidency in 20. We lost 2 Senate seats in Georgia in 20. It's a lot of losing. I think they might want to go back to winning again.
Okay.
When the conversation shifted to the future of the Republican Party, Bill Maher, with his usual sarcasm, scoffed at the idea that the GOP could ever distance itself from Donald Trump, calling such hopes naive. But Chris Christie didn't let it slide. He turned the argument around with a sharp reminder. The party has faced repeated election losses since Trump's rise. Rather than framing it as a question of loyalty, Christie offered a practical warning. Any political movement more focused on grievance than results is doomed to fail. He admitted Trump still holds major influence in the party, but emphasized that no political figure remains dominant forever. The GOP, he argued, must evolve or suffer. More defeat. Christie's response revealed the deep divide within the Republican Party, between those clinging to Trumpism, despite its diminishing returns, and those who believe transformation is necessary. While Maher likely intended to wrap up the segment with a dismissive punchline, it was Christie's grounded, forward-looking message that truly stuck. In politics, nothing is permanent, not even the strongest cult of personality.
Chris Wallace, your new show explores a wide range of interests unrelated to politics.
Like this.
What triggered this shift for you? Did you become burned out from politics after the past 6 years of Trump madness?
I didn't become burned out, but I became a bit bored. And I will actually say not in the Trump years, because as much of a show as it was always interesting. And you'd wake up on Sunday and we had somebody who was literally in charge of the tweets, because when I got in at 6 in the morning, between then and 9, when I would do the show, things would change depending on a Trump tweet. But I spent so much time, for instance, in 2021, each week, slicing the salami thinner and thinner about what was the marginal difference between the Build Back Better plan this week versus last week, and it became kind of a bore. And conversely,
good. Politics should be a bore. No, really. It's not supposed to be a show.
Well, I know, but you're also supposed to deal with big issues and try to solve them and get things done.
And that's boring. That's why Biden's good. He's doing it. That's why we elected him. Let's get back to boring and normal. Yes, you're right. Covering it, Build Back Better, was boring because they started with this number, and then guys objected and Manchin and this and Cinema and everybody fought, and then it came down to a better number and a better program, and they passed it. That's the way it's supposed to work. Boring and effective, and people.
Chris Wallace's decision to step back from strictly political journalism reflects a broader fatigue shared by many Americans who are overwhelmed by hyper-polarized, non-stop political coverage. While he acknowledges the Trump years were chaotic and often compelling from a media perspective, Wallace argues that genuine governance should be calm, predictable, and, ideally, a bit boring. This philosophy sharply contrasts with today's media landscape, which thrives on outrage, viral soundbites, and theatrical politics. Wallace's shift signals a yearning to escape the cycle of manufactured controversy and return to more meaningful, diverse storytelling that goes beyond Washington's partisan warfare. His critique of the Biden presidency doesn't stem from policy disagreements, but from the difficulty of covering a leader who doesn't offer daily drama like Trump did. For Wallace, true leadership shouldn't be a spectacle. It should be methodical, quiet, and results-driven. His move away from political journalism reflects growing disillusionment with a media system that often prioritizes shock over substance, a sentiment that might resonate with viewers increasingly worn out by the constant political noise. So what do you think? Drop your thoughts in the comments section below. And if you don't want to miss out on the hottest celebrity news, make sure to subscribe to Daily Finder.